Hello everyone, my name is Vikas Verma and welcome to greengrowthguru.com. As you are well aware, at Green Growth Guru, what we do is celebrate the gurus who are contributing to the green growth of our country. There are many pioneers, many youth, many women entrepreneurs, and there are so many other intellectuals who are trying to make those changes in our way of doing the work so that India propels itself in the green growth area. Today I have one such guru with me, Mr. Vishal Chowla. He is the CEO of the RoundGlass Foundation here in Punjab. I would welcome you, Vishal, to this particular podcast.
Thank you.
And this is going to be an interesting podcast, and I really hope we get to learn a lot about how can we look at the green growth area. We can look at the social areas which are leading to sustainability, leading to empowerment of women, leading to more jobs for youth. How can we actually pivot our careers towards that? First of all, Vishal, welcome to this podcast. And also, I'd like to start by talking about first your own journey as far as I'm concerned, because we both have many parallels in that journey. So please do tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Vikas, and very happy to be here today with you. My journey has been a very interesting one. Started in the corporate sector, worked there for many years, too many years sometimes I feel, and
something like me.
And then I transitioned briefly into setting up a enterprise, a tech company, a tech startup, but then gradually transitioned into the social sector.
Okay.
And I've been in the social sector now for almost 10 years.
Wonderful.
2015 is when I got my first foray into the sector, joined an organization called Save the Children. It was, a lot of us in the corporate sector do believe that we do want to do work in the social sector, but very often we don't know how to go about it and don't know what to do. And I think my story was also somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Where I did want to work in the sector, and I was fortunate to have been given an opportunity by...
Why did you want to work in the social sector?
Many years ago, when one was looking at what could the future look like when you're a young executive, I did want to achieve a particular sort of role or position within the corporate sector. I knew I wanted to do something of my own. And I also knew I wanted to give back. But this was all very fuzzy at some point in time. It was something that we wanted to do. Idealistic. But then one got an opportunity. And the opportunity really came about at Save the Children. An old colleague and friend, Thomas Chandy, was the CEO for Save the Children at that point in time. He was looking for somebody to help him in fundraising. So what started off with an engagement with him for a few weeks, I got pulled in and I never looked back. And it's been 10 years now, and what a fantastic journey. And I wonder why I didn't make it earlier.
Right. No, in fact, very similar thing happened, as you know, with me also. I was in advertising for almost about 16 years, till the time I wanted to really do something very meaningful, and wanted to understand how do I get out of this underutilization of information and communication, if I may say, whereas this can bring about a lot of good in society. I was also lucky enough to pivot into UNICEF, and then now I'm in the UNDP. So 22 years with UN and similar. And great, that's really wonderful. So how long you have been with RoundGlass Foundation now, and what work you are doing here?
So I've been with RoundGlass Foundations for the last 3 years now, joined them in January 2022. And at the foundation here, we do a lot of work around working with the community and the village, trying to bring about grassroots change.
Okay.
And our objective really is to see how our programs that we implement on the ground can bring in well-being for the village community at large. So we take the village as a unit of change, and we design and build all our program around that.
So to really understand what kind of projects you are doing which are bringing the environmental sustainability and community, upgradation and sustainability. Can you share with us what exactly you're doing?
Sure. So the foundation, RoundGlass Foundation, was started in 2018. And over the years, we started a number of programs that were specifically designed to make life better in the villages. And today we have really morphed our program to three broad thematic areas. We work in the areas, as you mentioned, of environment and sustainability, we work with youth, and we work with women.
Okay, that's
Now,
wonderful.
for us, all of these thematic areas and the programs within this are all interconnected.
Okay,
Because they do in some way or the other work with each other or independently, but necessarily look at how to make life better at the village.
oh, wonderful.
So our programs around in environment sustainability, we really looked at what was the need state for the state of Punjab, and in the phase one, we have picked up three programs that we're really looking at. Our flagship program today is the Billion Tree Project.
Oh, wow, billion trees.
Billion Tree Project, yes. And
I think Punjab needs it very badly because our
You're right.
forest cover is very less.
correct. So we have Punjab has a forest cover of almost 3.7%. I mean, an India average of I think 24-25%. So we're looking at planting about 1 billion trees over the next 10 years,
This is only in Punjab.
only in Punjab. We're looking at all native species, native varieties of trees. We have our own nurseries that have already been set up in various parts of Punjab, and we do 170 varieties of trees. We've chosen native trees because they are able to survive the local weather conditions, the soil conditions, etc. And we're proud to say that our survival rate of these trees, which is I think proof of the pudding, is almost 90%.
तो कब तक कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे ये बिलियन ट्रीज कब तक लगाने हैं
We've got a goal of 2035.
2035 okay and how
So-
many have you done so far
Perfect. Yeah. So we practiced and learned and built prototypes over the last few years. In the last 2 years, 2023 and 2024, we are planting 1 million trees each. So we are going to close 2024 with 3 million trees.
and it's not about planting only but they should be thriving they should
Thriving.
be living
Correct. So
Surviving.
on an average, between the trees require between 18 months to 30 months to be completely able to manage on their own. So we have an intensive maintenance program which also comes along with
okay
this.
okay
Now, I'd like to share an example here with you of how this program is actually in collaboration with what the government is doing. So we bring in X investment and the government brings in 2X.
okay
So there's a lot of multiplier in terms of our investment is really catalytic investment. So when we bring in, we work with the panchayat. Government is providing for every 200 trees, they provide us 1 labor. So this year with 1 million trees, we're going to be giving an opportunity to almost 5,000 people to get a job.
wow
Okay, a Manrega job, which is a job for 100 days. And I think it's a brilliant opportunity to grow the economy at large. And we use the Manrega labor over 2 years. And they come in over
Take care of
2 years, 3 years to make sure that the plants are taken care of. We get information, we send saplings back from our nursery, come to replant, etc. So we make sure that the 90% survival rate of the plants, the mini forests we've created so far.
so I want to understand you talked about the village level
Yeah.
and you talked earlier also of the model village
Yeah.
tell me about that a little bit
So for us, the model village really is a village where we have almost all of our programs present.
okay
So if in environment, we've got program around tree plantations, so the Billion Tree Project. We have another fantastic program which is the Waste Management Project.
Yeah, I'm very interested in knowing that because I think some of the villages which I have visited on your foundation, they're so clean,
Yeah.
they're so neat, and I think you're also doing. Of course, I want you to touch upon that in terms of what you're doing with that waste. How is it really helping
For
in
sure.
creating wealth out of that? So,
Sure. So our solid waste management program, really the way we have designed the program, we call it a behavior change program.
right.
Okay. Now,
Absolutely.
typically, when you go into a village which does not have a waste management program, you'll find food waste, garbage strewn all over the street, on the sides of the road, on the corners, and the drains. When we go in, we first go and work with the community and do a lot of community engagement, workshops, demos as to what are the need.
Because there's a lot of resistance
There's a
otherwise.
resistance,
You
and-
are
and-
trying to tell them to change their way of living.
Change their way of
They are
living.
used to a particular way of doing
Absolutely.
things. They're not. Yeah.
So then we also figure that when you want to drive change, you have to be able to talk about it,
Right.
share examples, and make it as simple. Make change very, very simple and easy to accommodate. And so that was one of the key philosophies of our program is how do we make it very, very simple. So in the first phase right now, the way we look at it is we go and work with the village community,
Okay.
invite them in for demos. We work with the Sarpanch Panchayat to then ask them to also make applications to the BDPO office or BDO office to create composting pits.
Okay.
Because that again, there's Manrega funding available for that.
All right. So you are
We
putting
are again
all the
leveraging.
funds together, leveraging that. Yeah.
So we bring in funds for, let's say, whatever we need for setting up the entire service program.
Okay.
Whether it's dustbins, whether it's cycle rickshaws, training, etc.,
That's
salary
very
for waste
important.
collector.
Yeah.
And the government then puts in 2x of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we are today in 250 locations. And I'll
Okay.
just explain to you how this model works. Once the application is made to the Manrega department, the approval comes fairly quickly. There is a composting pit made. So we've gone into we've started working in the smaller villages. We thought it would be easier to test our pilots in smaller villages.
Yeah.
So on average, these villages have a household count of about 200.
200. Okay.
So roughly say 900,000 people living there. That size of village generates about 80 tons of wet waste.
Okay.
Okay,
On a
per annum.
per annum.
Per annum. And now this wet waste comes in collected through the waste collector. So waste collector is appointed by us,
Okay.
who is given a cycle rickshaw. We give in 2 dustbins to every household,
Okay.
a green dustbin and a blue dustbin,
Something which we still haven't been able to do in urban areas.
and very ordinary simple. Ke gila kuda, sukha kuda.
Right.
That simple as that. Don't complicate your life. All the dry waste, whether it's paper, glass, plastic, tin, isme dal do. Wet waste, which is essentially food waste, green dustbin mein dal do. And the waste collector has now he has a defined route map every morning. He leaves his the location at 7:30. By 9:30, 10, he's finished 200 households, collected waste and brought it back to the composting pit. The wet waste is put into the composting pit. The dry waste is segregated separately for whatever has to be done. That wet waste then becomes compost.
Right.
So 80 tons of wet waste converts to about 15 to 20 tons of compost.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Which is
So this would have been waste which have gone into landfill or on the streets or on the drains, etc.
and stinking.
And stinking. And this then becomes compost and goes back into the same fields of the farmers. So in some sense, the economy, circular economy, sort of plays
And
in
they're
over
saving
here.
money on that. And it's a very rich nutrient.
It's absolutely organic.
Organic, right.
It's organic. So that happens.
So why did you choose waste first? I mean, there could be many other things.
I think sanitation is so important for a healthy mind,
Absolutely.
for well-being. The first
Health.
thing you want to do is, well-being says you need to live in a clean environment.
Even, if you really see the recent Lancet research, which is giving full marks to the sanitation campaign, the
Yes.
Safai Abhiyan, which
Yes.
started by the government of India, how it has helped in bringing the infant mortality down. It's so telling.
Absolutely.
For that matter.
So I think those indicators are certainly very, very useful from a health point of view.
Right.
From a mental makeup point of view as well.
You see clean
The
things.
youth who's growing up is growing up in an environment which is cleaner and better.
Absolutely.
I mean, they don't find the drains in those villages are clean. There's water flowing from there. There's no black mark in those villages. So, and we in fact talk about this as a corollary to perhaps going into grey water in due course of time. We want to do that. We've not started a grey water management program. We will start
That's
that
the next phase.
next phase of this.
Right.
And this program of waste management is also a self-sufficient program because we have also almost made sure that the waste collector gets a service fee from the household. 200 households on an average, somebody gives 40 rupees, somebody gives 50 rupees.
They do? Okay.
And we have about 85% participation on average.
Okay.
There would be some households which do not want to participate, which insist they will not. So we keep requesting them, keep going back to them. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't. But we are able to collect adequate amount for the waste collector to earn a basic minimum wage.
So it is easily replicable at any village level. Any youth can also start with.
Anywhere in the country.
Right.
It is a model which can be taken anywhere in the country.
And it is
I mean, we just need basic investment. Even that investment as a As an organization, we bring in some investment on, let's say, dustbins, cycle kits, etc., which is about lakh and a half. The government puts in 4-5 lakh rupees on the
Excellent.
on this.
So you have tree plantation, you have waste management.
And then we also do work on regenerative agriculture.
Okay. All right. What does that entail?
Our regenerative agriculture really, Punjab is largely an agrarian state.
Right.
85-86% of the land is under cultivation. We do know and we keep hearing of issues with regard to excessive use of chemicals, fertilizer.
And paddy and wheat only and not into other
We hear
areas.
about stubble burning, we hear about water issues. So our focus area, our strategic focus for our regenerative agriculture program really is looking at areas of soil rejuvenation, looking at areas of water table enhancement, so therefore maybe reduction of water usage or other methods to enhance water, and also looking at how can we then, through various processes, mechanisms, etc., support in increasing the farmer income.
So how many villages are you?
This is a very new program for us. We just started this late last year. So we are today in about, we are impacting nearly 15 to 16,000 farmers in about less than 200 villages. About 180, 190 villages where we are right now. And but this is again a program which, to my mind,
And in how long will this show the results?
this will take a few crop cycles, maybe 2, 3, 4 years before you start seeing the change.
Right.
Because this is not, unfortunately, it's not a quick fix.
Absolutely.
It depends on.
You won't see that immediately, like a waste management. You can see immediately the cleanliness.
No, here again there are 2, 3 factors to it. One is certainly the environmental factor or the basic nature of of agriculture. It goes by crop cycle to crop cycle, A. But B, there's also the farmer today. Whatever the farmer does, it's his or her bread and butter. So for them to make any changes, they need to be very sure of what they're doing. The risk-taking ability is very low.
They can't jeopardize their own earning, you know.
So therefore,
So
the
part
adoption,
of their land they can start into.
either part of the land or our approach on how do we want to take this forward has been again 2-3 fold. We are now setting up model farms.
Correct.
Okay, in a clustered approach at different locations within Punjab. And these model farms then would look at showcasing various farming techniques or methods or methodologies, whether it's what could be alternate crop varieties, seed varieties, cropping techniques, tilling techniques, less use of water, or, a variety of things. And once you start collecting that data, have real-time information available over various crop cycles, you can start influencing a farmer or farmer community to start adopting.
Excellent.
So this is going to be a very slow burn. It's going to be a very slow adoption. But I think that's very, very important to do.
But I'm really excited about a model farm. You talked model village. And model village, you said one thing which you talked about, waste management. What are the other things we should do?
So within the model village, we also then on youth.
Right.
We have a very strong focus on youth in terms of how do we engage them. So today we are, we have a very specialized program around learning.
Okay.
We have a specialized program around sports.
Okay.
But outside of that, we're also engaging youth on implementing our program on the ground. So really job creation.
How many youth are working with you?
So today we have about 380 youth who we call change makers, who are working for different programs on the ground, whether it's a learning program, a yoga program, a sports program, or the waste program.
Okay.
So we have and
So you
this
have sports program also.
Yeah. So and I think and I'll give you an example of how in our learning program how we're using youth. Our learning program really is a program for for the children after school.
Okay.
Where we are working with them to make them go through.
So after 10th or 12th grade?
No. So this is for grades for years 5 to 15.
Okay.
This program originally was designed to be talking to grades 6, 7, and 8. But being a community program, we have older and younger siblings who also accompany the children, and we never say no. So now today the program really has children between the age groups of 5 to 15 who come there. Grades 10, 11, 12 don't come because of boards, etc., etc. And this is a program where we look at how can we bring children to become better learners when they go back to school.
Okay.
So we don't teach the curriculum, but we look at other areas of input, foundation literacy, we look at project-based learning, etc. And so these programs, we have now 330 centers, Learn Labs
Wow.
in Punjab. And these are run by young change makers. I just want to
Yeah,
share
I
about
want to know more about that. Young change makers, you talk to me about it. Tell me a little bit about that.
So, when we first started the Learn Labs program, we were wondering how do we execute it on the ground? Who's going to be working with the children? Who will teach them? And we had a curriculum designed. We had district coordinators there, but who would go every day to the village to train them? Then we chanced upon. We said, let's try and get some youth from the village. And what was an experiment really? We opened I think about 10 or 12 labs in the first round. So we hired about 5 or 6 young girls from the village. Now we went and spoke to the village Sarpanch ke, give us somebody. Who do you think can be a right person? By chance, we met one or two villages where we met these girls who had just finished school
Okay.
and finished their class 12, but did not go to college.
Okay.
Were sitting at home, didn't know what to do. They were, they were not given any opportunity. Maybe
they're not aware of the.
they're not aware. So we went and trained these first batch of young girls.
Okay.
Just are coming out of school, and these kids, very hesitant, very shy, very not confident, learned with us, and they have become such strong ambassadors for our program now. Today we have almost about 170 change makers of girls who are our strongest ambassadors. They are able to talk about the program.
And they are earning money also.
They're earning money, they have a seat at the table at home, they are bringing in sometimes only 10, 15, 20% of their household income. They have improved their lot. Some of them have gone ahead and got government jobs. Some of them have gone ahead and upgraded themselves.
So youth and women empowerment put together in one place. Awesome. So I really want, Green Growth Guru is also about talking about that there are so many new avenues and so many new careers which are being generated and which are in the field of sustainability. And you are at the heart of sustainability, and sustainability is not about only the green areas or plantation, but it's also about working for all the SDGs. And I'm looking at all your various initiatives. They are touching many SDGs at various levels. So what kind of careers do you foresee? I mean, if this was to go forward and there are so many youth who are looking for careers, what would you say to them?
So I think, and I'll talk about what roles we would have internally at the foundation, and also how these could have impacts on other roles outside of foundation. So we are, today we are in 2,300 villages in Punjab. Our stated ambition for 2035 is to be in all 12,700 villages in Punjab.
And we have 6 to 7 lakh villages in India.
India.
You were to suppose to do exactly the same thing in all the villages, and we empower the people.
Huge opportunity in rural India for jobs.
Right.
For basic jobs to get in and get started.
Would you say jobs or would you say entrepreneurships? I mean, they can become entrepreneur on their own and give jobs to many other people, right?
So it is a mix of everything.
Right.
It'll be a mix of jobs, mix of entrepreneurial opportunities. And for example, the waste management program.
Very right. That's what I meant.
If we create a waste management cluster of villages or cluster of a block, 60, 70, 80 villages together, you can absolutely set up an enterprise to then convert that plastic waste or dry waste into an enterprise. There are organizations who are now coming to us and visiting with us over the next have come and will be coming to see how we can experiment with small enterprises over here to convert all the plastic waste into moldable plastic chashmas or dustbins or something.
So 2,000 villages, how many people are kind of working directly or indirectly?
So we have between about near 500, 480 or 490 paid positions, which include full-time contract labor and also people on trainees and change makers. And we have another almost 400 to 500 people who work as volunteers with us. So almost 1,000 people work with RoundGlass today to make it what it is, and we are so thankful to all of them for what they do with us.
Indirectly, so many other people must be involved in that. So I'm saying, just understanding a little more of that. What kind of skill set, what kind of competency set, what kind of background they should have, the youth? I mean, there are many youth who are already educated and they're still looking for jobs, but they are only looking for blue-collar jobs, or white-collar jobs. They are not looking into this area. What would you say?
I think I think there are certainly areas of opportunity in whatever we're doing. So there are jobs that can be created in each one of our programs that I've described to you. There are jobs that can be created from an entrepreneurial point of view. There are technical now. Let's look at agriculture.
Right.
In Punjab, the youth today does not want to get into agriculture.
Right.
We see a lot of youth leaving Punjab and
Hardcore agriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is clearly an area of opportunity. There is enough and more opportunity for us to make the income so higher for farmers, whether by way of better marketing, whether by way of coming together, whether by way of reducing input cost. So I think there are opportunities there. Now, also to solve a lot of issues that we're doing, technology can play a very big role.
Technology can have a major role.
I mean, AI, I think, is something which there is so much of work that's already happening on how AI can actually help in improving agricultural
Right.
input, yields, etc., determine the right crops, determine water patterns. There is certainly AI you could use for your reforestation program.
Yeah.
Look at remote sensing on canopy growth. You can look at technology from various lenses.
There are drone DDs which are coming up.
Exactly.
And drones are going to be for fertilizers, for seeding,
Absolutely.
for so many things,
Yeah.
which will be.
I mean, even for our learning program, it's some way, I won't say it's a digital program, it's
Right.
digitally enabled,
Right.
but there is certainly more opportunity for us to use AI to see how we can make it better and easier for teachers to teach children better. So therefore, learning outcomes, lesson planning, etc. How can all of that be?
So
how
let's
can I
say
get-
engineers or even people who are graduates who've done BSc, even BA, even in sociology, in psychology, in public administration, because these are the youth which I'm seeing these
Yeah.
days who have done graduation, who've done post graduation also, but don't have any jobs, and they're still waiting for jobs to happen. Can come in to this area, start something of their own, and can look for newer avenues to come out. I think it's a very exciting time for many youth, and really, Vishal, when I'm hearing you and whatever I've heard from you is so hope-giving, if I may say, because I feel that, and that's the ethos which we want to live by in greengrowthguru.com, that there is a lot of hope. There are many avenues which are creating jobs. We just need to know more about that. And really, Vishal, thank you so much for coming on to our podcast. We'll again come in detail and maybe go to your villages with you
For sure.
and visit how those things are happening. But that will be for later. Thank you so much for being.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.